Hello everybody. I wanted to go over a couple things kind of quick as to what I've been up to lately with studies and stuff like that. So I went out and I bought the CCIE Route and Switch book. I actually have the hardcover version of the PDF, and the main reason I bought it was because of the fact that it came with the click back on this guy. I can't well comes with the CD-ROM with the 200 and some questions on it that are separate from the questions that are in the book, because it's you have the chapter opening quizzes. There's 10 questions per chapter at the beginning, and you can take those to assess your knowledge and stuff like that. So what I'm doing right now is it's about 1,000 pages, and I'm in about the 350 page range right now, and I'm going through route redistribution in chapter 9. Different ways you can redistribute and stuff like that, and how to use route maps and prefix lists and stuff like that to filter your traffic from protocol to protocol and stuff like that. But it's been going really good. I've been had a lot of success pulling knowledge out of it. A lot of good key points. I've got a one of those single subject 70-page notebooks, and I've been about halfway through the book. I've got about 40 pages of notes, front and back taken. So I'm going through it step by step. I plan on taking as many notes as I can, and then I'm hoping to have the first pass done through the book in another week or so. I should be able to do that because I've only got 3 classes left for this semester, so I'm doing all my classes on Monday. For a few hours, I do my classes, and then it's the rest of my time is studying the book. I try to get 20 or 30 pages done a night so that I can read through, and it's not so. To me, it's not as much of how fast I can read it. It's how much information I'm pulling out of it and I'm retaining. So, first thing I want to do is pull as much information out as I can on the first pass, and as I go through, I can put uh, uh, what I was doing. It's gonna be hard to do if you're handwriting everything out, but if you're I've got a notepad. That's what I was looking for. A notepad document that's already got documentation in there. So what I'm going to do is go through it again once I read it the first time. Once I have it situated, it's just a matter of going through and getting all the information I need out of it. And then I've got the INE Volume 1 through 4 workbooks that I bought, and the PDFs and the labs to go with those. I'm not touching any labs at the CCIE level until I feel like I'm closer to it, because of the fact that there's so much to learn and so many things to do and stuff like that. I really want to nail it down at the CCNP level first, and then move into the CCIE stuff. I want to know all the technologies for the CCIE lab, and what I'm planning on doing is going through. Let me actually pull up the my video player here, and I'm not going to play anything, but um, I've got, as you can see, me. Let's see here. Where is it? IPv6. I got some CCNA stuff. Right, it's up. It's right up right here. CCNP route. I plan on going back through the CCNP route and the CCNP switch before I dive headlong. And then I've got the IPv6 videos to go through that teaches everything you need to know about IPv6. Anything you can do with IPv4, you can do with IPv6. So I plan on going through that as well. And will I have to focus as hard on the IPv6 stuff? No, Do I want to know it? Yes. Will it hurt? It shouldn't. I mean, you never know who you're gonna environment you're gonna walk into, and they have IPv6 running, and you have to know how to work with it. So then I know I put up a video a week or so ago about how that's what I was planning on doing. So, but one of the things that I would like to do beyond that is um, once I go through the IPv6 and the BGP videos and the INE's ATC course, and once I've got all that pretty much pinned down, um, there's the INE online, their V seminars. They have a troubleshooting one, they have a PFR one. If you don't know what PFR is, you're going to want to know what PFR is. It's actually a really cool technology, and it's actually the latest and greatest routing protocols out on the internet. They're trying to get rid of, well, they're not trying to get rid of OSPF, but OSPF, EIGRP, RIP, IS to IS, they're all old. 10, 15, 20 years old. So it's not uncommon for, you know, uh, the powers that be to try to come up with a new routing protocol. And by doing that, you're able to, you know, get yourself that much better at routing. It's all about performance, and PFR uses a whole bunch of different things to calculate what the best route is, and when you boil everything down, all it does is it injects static routes in with a better prefix length than what's already in there, so that it can path select and determine based on metrics that you the administrator put in. So all in all, the beautiful part about PFR is its versatility and what it can do. Of course, then they've got the CCIE quality of service, and then route redistribution, and then there's IPv6, and then there's structured approach. If you are a person that is looking to get into the CCIE lab mentality, you need to watch this video. It's probably 2.5 hours long, but it's a wealth of knowledge. They go over books to read, they go over knowing foundation level knowledge, which is what I'm doing right now. There is no stupid router tricks that I want to know. I could care less about stupid little things like, how long do I make the router wait to let me log in after it boots up? Who cares? That's not going to be something you can utilize in the real world. What I want to know is, what do I got to know now to get myself prepared for later? So I've just been going through step after step, and then they have troubleshooting IP multicast. So these are deep dives on topics specific to the CCIE blueprint, and there's just so much information out there. Excuse me for that. So when you boil it all down and you break it down to what it really is, knowing your technology and knowing how they work is going to allow you to troubleshoot them. And there are so many little technicalities and intricacies and little tweaks and metrics that you can change, and all these different little things that you can tweak to make to optimize the network. You have to know how those work as well. It's just not knowing how BGP and route reflectors work. You have to really understand that. Why would you use route reflectors? Where? When? What do you use them with? That's the whole thing. If you understand BGP as a whole, then you're going to be that much better off. So that's pretty much where I stand. I do have the INE workbooks. I haven't really gone through them yet because of the fact that I've been going through other things, but there are labs out online here that I will go to their website. The one thing that you'll find out with all the websites that are out here that have topologies like this, you'll see different things that are put out here by, engineers that want to get more advanced with the routing protocols. I mean, um, if you're if you're an engineer that wants to get stronger in the CCNA world, I definitely recommend you be able to do anything that's on the CCNA blueprint. Um, I can do anything on the CCNA blueprint. I can explain it. I can go into detail. The idea behind that is not only being able to go into detail on it, but being able to explain it. You know, you won't find me doing any major CCNP level topics right now because of the fact that that's not what my goal is right now. My goal right now is to learn all of the topics, at least the foundation level understanding of getting uh, getting prepared for the written. That's what I'm actually going for. Labbing right now is not a priority to me because of the fact that I'm still studying the material. So, but as you can see, GNS3vault.com, it gives you whatever that crap is. It gives you a bunch of labs you can go through. And as you can see, there's quite a few of them here. There's 2050. Um, there's probably a couple hundred labs here, or if not more, of things you can go through. And, well, for instance, I'll click on CCIE, and just to give you clues of what you could expect. And while this loads, the idea here is to do as many labs once you understand what you're doing. Once you understand all the technologies, and you're trying to validate what you know, because that's how you're going to only get. That's the only way you're going to get stronger. Is what is the new one? That's the only way you're going to get stronger is if you take what you know and you apply it, and then you're following the requirements for the question, and you get hung up. What do you do? Well, then that's when you got to go to documentation. You got to review more. Maybe you missed something. Maybe you don't quite understand. You know. So, all right. Well, here we go. Um, uh, let's see here. They had the goals. So what I would do is, if you were looking for the lab, this particular lab, I would. This is new too. December 25th of 2012. It's only a couple months old. I'd go through and I would. This is all lab. As you can see, it's a small bar here. Here's the topology. This is it in its entirety. Now, in GNS3, you can't do switching. Now, what I would do is I have Advanced Enterprise. They have 12.4, which you're going to want to do 12.4. But for everything that I've seen when it comes to CCI or the CCI lab with iOS image, it's always 12.4T. I haven't seen 12.4, just 12.4. So you don't have to. I use the same model, but I use a 3725 Advanced Enterprise Services. This section right here, but I use 12.4.15T, and I don't have a problem. Now, with that being said, this is a topology you're going to want to build, and then as you can see, this is IGP. So you're going to have EIGRP in one section, then you'll have OSPF and some other stuff. RIP version 2, which actually RIP version 2 has been removed from the CCIE blueprint right now, so you won't have to worry about that. And then you've got EGP, which is your BGP, and then you'll have MPLS, where you got your provider edge and your provider core, and then you got your multicast. You have your auto rendezvous point and your multicast address. This is when you're dealing with PIM sparse mode, dense mode. This would be your source. This is your destination. I'm not strong with PIM yet, but PIM is protocol independent multicast, where you're able to route your multicast over your IP backbone. And then you have your IPv6 IGP, and you have your RIP, you have your OSPF, and you have your, I don't see EIGRP here, but that's the basic idea to it. So these are labs that, as you're going through, they list everything down. So what you would do, I think there's a configuration file you can download, and maybe it's up here. Oh, I might have to log in to do it, but typically there's a configuration file. Maybe not. But Anyway, I think it actually lists IP addresses down here. Yeah, it lists IP. So what you could do is you could go under here and um, it lists at the top here. You're gonna have loopbacks, and then you can choose your own. Sounds like your own IP address range. But anyway, that's one of the things you're gonna want to do. Now there's not a lot here, but um, there's a lot to configure. The idea, and for this is more angled from somebody that's studying to the level that I'm studying at. It's one thing to know all the technologies. If you're a guy that can only get on the command line and you start going off, you're good for about a half hour, 45 minutes, and then you start to slow way down and have to think things through when you start adding configuration to your network and you start getting things to come up and you're trying to verify doing ping tests and show commands and seeing if routes are being propagated where they're supposed to be and are your switches doing what they're supposed to do and are your routes taking the right path. If you run into a hang up with any of that, that's something you're going to want to work through because that's only going to make you stronger in the fact that you've got 6 hours or 5.5 hours, whatever it is, at the CCIE lab that you have to work with. So the idea is not only to know the technologies, know all the commands, or at least the majority of the commands for them, know all aspects of the blueprint. Don't go in there being really, really bad with multicast. I don't know how much multicast is going to be on the lab, but my thought is this. If you're going in and you have to get an 80% in order to pass, it's 80% on troubleshooting and 80% on your configuration. If you ding a section in T-shoot and then you ding a section in um, config, you're gonna fail. And at $1,500 a crack, I don't have $1,500 a crack to make a mistake, and you have to wait 30 days to take it over again. That to me isn't. It's worth spending the extra 2-3 weeks to go through and learn everything you need to do before before you go in there and you spend $1,500 and then you find out, oh yeah, I failed. Why? Because I wasn't ready for it yet. These are things you're going to want to know. So, if I was you, and this is to anybody that's willing to listen to my advice, if I was you, I would definitely, absolutely make sure that you know every technology and you know how to configure all the technologies. You have to verify them, at least at the basic level. Then once you know how to configure everything, once you have at least I'll say a basic level of understanding, a CCNA's level of understanding. At least you know what MPLS does, how it works, where it gets put, the different facets to it. You know the difference between a provider core router and a provider edge router. You know the difference between an imposition and a disposition, which is a push and a pop for your labels, stuff like that. If you know what that does and you know how to configure it and you know how to use multi-protocol BGP with it, and you can work with it that way, you're that much farther along. And then it's as you learn technology, you need to go through and then verify that you know the technology and do it over and over and over again to where you don't need a book, you don't need a video, you don't need to reference documentation. You know, it sounds like I'm just pushing memorization, which to a certain degree I am, but at the same point in time, if you're going for something as strict as what's the word I'm looking for? Um, Not strategic, but prestigious. That's the word I'm looking for. Prestigious as a CCIE. Now, I may be putting a little bit too much emphasis on the certification as a whole, but it's that kind of a certification. You know, if you don't want to take it seriously, then what are you doing in networking? Maybe you're just going to be a knock guy the rest of your life. Who knows? Maybe you already are a CCIE, and I'm just I take what I hear and I forward it to you guys. You know, I follow Brian McGann and Brian Dennis daily through email and stuff like that, and to me, those guys are second to none. Um, the guy that got me to this point is Jeremy Chara with CBT Nuggets. The guy is a genius. Now, since CBT Nuggets doesn't have any updated CCIE training, I have no other choice but to go with Internet Network Expert. I could have gone with IP Expert or any other company out there that does CCIE training, but for me, the delivery of the material and the way that they present the material, it's very on point. You're not sitting there wondering, am I getting the best deal? Are they talking about everything I need them to talk about? There might be a few things that they leave out, but 95% of what you need to know is in there. So if you see anything on the blueprint that you're not sure of, look it up. So one thing that I'm going to do is once I get finished with the book is I'm probably next weekend I'm going to put together a CCNA lab, and it's going to be one lab, and I'm going to it'll be probably a packet tracer setup, and anything that the packet tracer is capable of doing, it'll be on there. So the thought process is this: I'm going to go in, I'm going to configure kind of a large topology, and I'm going to walk in there and I'm going to explain what it is that you need to do. And the premise behind that is so that I can take what I know, configure it so everything will be working, and then what I'll do is I'll put out the video, and if anybody wants to try the lab, shoot me an email, and I'll be able to, actually I'll put the, I might be able to put it on something, on an FTP site or something. But anyway, I'll put it out online somewhere to where people can access it and they can, go out there and get it, do the lab. Because, it's one thing to get the labs that schools put out and stuff like that, like this. This is a CCNA lab. Okay, CCNA 3 and 4. This was one of the last labs that I had to do. It was a troubleshooting an enterprise environment. And I looked at that and I'm like, that's not really an enterprise environment, if you ask me. I mean, if you're a small company, yes. But if if you have more advanced understanding, what's the first thing you would do with switch 2 and switch 3 on fast 4 and fast 3? Well, I would make that a port channel, and I would make it a layer 2 port channel, so that both links are being utilized. Because in spanning tree, let's say if switch 2 is the root for both of them, and there's only one VLAN, switch fast 4 and switch 3 is going to get locked. Well, how do you make sure that both links are being utilized? Well, you configure a port channel and they load balance across each other. So that's the first thing I would do, But that's just an optimization thing. You may not be required to do that, but the idea is the same. The idea when it comes to doing stuff like this is being able to interpret the diagram. That's why I like this GNS3 labs, because you're able to go through and they have labs for everything, or majority of things. So as you're going through BGP, it's like, what do I need to know about BGP? A lot. There's a lot to do with BGP. And give me 1 second and it's going to load. So you can go through and you can do all these things, and I'm sure there's going to be regex, regular expression in here somewhere, but I don't see it. But the idea behind it is knowing everything you need, every aspect of BGP you can think of, and going in and configuring it. That's the whole idea. The idea is being able to look at the diagram and figure out what it is that they're trying to tell you. If you can do that, and you should be okay. I mean, I've never taken it, but I think I'm a pretty sharp guy, and if I can figure it out, I think other people are too. It's just a matter of understanding everything. Learn the stuff first, verify it. That's why I'm going through the book now, and then I'll pull what I know, and I'll go through some labs and configure some stuff and see if I understand it. And um, if I get it, great. If I don't, I need to go back. Once I take the book, once I finish the book, I'm going to take the practice test that comes with it and see how I do without having to reference the book for anything. If I don't know off the top of my head, it's whatever I think it is, whatever I think the best answer is. And then I'll get my output. That's how you gauge your progress. You study, you practice test. Like, okay. I'm not looking to memorize every question, but I'm looking to see where am I weak. And then you focus on that area. If you're not so strong in BGP, focus on BGP. If it's something specific about BGP, is it fast failover? Well, what is fast failover? How do I work with that? How do I make it better? How do I optimize it? Stuff like that. So that's basically the premise behind this video, was to kind of give a overview of what I've been up to lately, some of my studying stuff, what I'm going to be coming up with in a little bit here. I'm waiting till next weekend to schedule my CCNA exam so I can retake and pass that and finally have my CCNA. I'm actually feeling really confident about it because I'm actually glad I went through this lab or this class with school, because it was able to give me an insight to some stuff that I was weak in, and I've been able to strengthen those areas. And now I feel like I'm pretty quick at spotting NAT and the different types of NAT, and access lists and configuring them, and being able to read them and stuff like that, and interpret what they're trying to say, and stuff like that. So it's if you can explain to somebody that doesn't know much about networking, and you can explain CCNP level topics or CCNA level topics, you've got what you need. It's just a matter now of building on top of that if that's what you choose to do. So I'm going to let you guys go because I'm sure you guys are getting tired of listening to me talk and all other good stuff. So like I said, I just wanted to give a quick update as to what I've been up to lately. Updates will be far and few between, simply for the fact that I'm busy studying. It's now that I have the book and the workbooks and the videos to go through, I've got plenty of study material. So um, I'll try to do a video, once every week or two, and just to give an update what I've been doing. And then once I go through all of the book, and probably a couple of times, 3 or 4 before I take the written exam, because it's March 3rd. I plan on taking the CCIE Written exam sometime this summer. So once I schedule that, then it's crunch time. I don't want to schedule it too far out, but I'm definitely I feel like I'm getting stronger, but I still need a long way. I still have a long way to go. I'm not. I'm gonna go through and really nail down some stuff, and I'm not worried about configuration. I'm just worried about learning how things work and the different ways to look at them. So once I get done with the next 2 months, because that'll put me in May. And 2 months from now, if I can go through the book twice, then that puts me in a good shape. So, but anywho, like I said, I'm sure you guys are tired of listening to me talk. I'm tired of talking. Well, I'm not really. I keep right on going. But I hope this has been informative for you, and I would like to thank you for viewing.